Did you hear that?
Hey everybody, this is James, and this is a new kind of new segment that I'm going to try. I've been trying to get where I do regular things throughout the week. I'm kind of hoping that this will be kind of a semi-regular thing. Of course, I go out and do the investigations with What the Paranormal, but actually being able to get to go out and do investigations is kind of hit and miss with me because of my work and everything. And so I thought, well, I'll try to do every Friday. I'll try to put up something paranormal related, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it every week or not. So kind of a semi-regular segment here, I guess. Didn't even think about giving it a name until I sat down to start putting it together, and I was like, oh yeah, I got to call it something, I guess. Since the audio has always been kind of my, well, I hate to say specialty, but it seems to be what I've always been better at, is going back over the voice recorder and doing the audio stuff. Or Ear for the Paranormal would work. So I've got some stuff that, well, some new, some old. I finally dusted off that old laptop I've been talking about before, and I didn't have as much on there as I thought. But there's been some stuff that I've done recently. I do have 5 video clips and 3 audio clips I'm going to play for you. This first one, now the video clips, when I went to do the videos, there was nothing paranormal about the intent of going out and doing this. This first one, for instance, it was Belcherville. Now it is in the cemetery, but it was still not. I was not going out there with the intent of paranormal research or doing EVPs or anything like that. I just went out there. This first one was at Belcherville Cemetery. I was just going out, wanted to tell the story of the unknown cowboy. Well, a local legend, so to speak. It's not really. It's a true story, but there's no telling how much of the true story has morphed into a bard's tale by now. But there was one little thing. It could be something, it could be nothing. It's really you would have to say that this is not actual evidence, but I'm going to go ahead and play it anyway. But there is one little thing. I was talking about the legend that when he died, his well, the unknown cowboy. Just tell the story real quick. Guy rode up back in the 1800s. He was just traveling. There were some ranch hands out there. He stopped to get work. He asked if he could do some work to earn some money for the day, get a meal, and before he went on. And so, hey, yeah, I'll go over there and do that. They didn't even get his name. Just a few minutes later, a snake spooked his horse. The horse reared up. The guy fell off his horse, broke his neck, and died. And so they just carved into a rock the only name they had for him, which was Unknown Cowboy. Now, a few years ago, somebody actually stole his headstone, believe it or not. But some people kind of got some money together and they gave him a new headstone. So the Unknown Cowboy has a new headstone. It was the original hand-carved rock is gone, but legend has it that the snake actually bit the horse, and that the horse died as well, and they buried him with the horse. And I was just saying that the only way you could prove that true or not true would be to dig up the grave. But there's just some legends that need to remain legends. And after I say something about digging up the grave, there's a sound that kind of almost sounds like a what? But we'll play for it. And of course, as always with the audio, I'll take that highlighted part and I'll play it 3 times at the end of the clip. I guess the only way you can find out for sure would be to dig up his grave and see what's in there, but some legends just need to go unanswered. Okay, like I say, that one, I don't really consider it evidence because that could be a ton of stuff. The wind was blowing so hard, it could be just the wind whistling through something. It could have been a noise from pretty far off, but it's just something that caught my ear. Okay, this next one. On my way to Menard, I stopped off in Dublin, Texas. And the main reason I wanted to stop there was the old train station. But I went over to the old train station. Now, the old train station turned out not to be that big a deal because somebody had apparently been using it as an office building not too many years ago. And so unless you're that interested in, computer equipment and kitchen appliances from the late 80s and early 90s, it wasn't really all that neat. But as I was walking around the train station, before I realized I could actually get into the train station, there was an open door, and I go ahead and go inside. I was just sticking my head in windows and getting shots through windows and cracks and such. And this is one part that looks like it's probably near where they would have taken tickets to get on the train. It's pretty faint, but it does sound like a voice a couple of times. Just right as I'm getting the shot, and then I say something about the pencil sharpener on the wall, and then you hear that another, I don't know if it's the same voice, but you hear another voice. Here's a pencil sharpener. Okay, now these next three are very recent. I went down to Dallas here just as I'm putting this online. I went to Dallas a few days ago. I put the video up a couple of days ago. I went to something I've always been wanting to do for years, and I finally did it. As I went and just paid my respects to the Von Erich family. I was a big wrestling fan in the 80s, and big fan of the Von Erichs, and I went to Grove Hill Cemetery in Dallas and went to their graves. And as I was there, and again, there was nothing paranormal intended. I was not there to do an EVP session. I was not there to nothing with ghost hunting in mind. But the fact of the matter is, I picked up three things on that video. And show you that you can see on this picture here, they all happen within just a few feet of each other. The first one was, fairly close to that American flag, which, okay, they all happened right around Mike Von Erich's grave. I'm not going to start claiming that Mike Von Erich was trying to talk to me. Okay, it's not going to turn into that. I'm not going to be talking to Marilyn Monroe in my bedroom or anything. The first one actually happened closer to that American flag, as you can see there. And the second one was as I was walking over to, Fritz, Carrie, and Doris are kind of buried a little bit of ways from the rest of them. You can see there I was walking over to that, and it was kind of between the American flag and Mike Von Erich's grave as far as, where I was standing. The third one actually happened when I was standing right by Mike Von Erich's headstone. So I'm going to go ahead and play you these clips. This first one happened, literally seconds after I turned the camera on. I had just started filming, and I get this, and I was talking about how big the cemetery was, and the biggest cemetery I've ever been in is probably one of the biggest cemeteries there is. It's a Lexington Cemetery in Lexington, Kentucky. There's over 16,000 people buried there. And I'm talking about that, and when I say there's 16,000 people buried in Lexington Cemetery, it almost sounds like somebody saying, whoa. Pretty big cemetery. It's nowhere near the size of Lexington Cemetery. Lexington Cemetery has like 16,000 people buried in it, but this is pretty good size. Alright, now this would have been just a few minutes later, not too much later, because I was having trouble the directions I was given made it sound like that Fritz, Carrie, and Doris would have been buried like way away from the rest of them. So I was looking at the complete wrong part of the cemetery looking for Mike, Chris, and David. As it turned out, I walked right by them like twice. And you'll see, this is right after I walked past them. I was walking over toward where Fritz and Carrie and Doris are buried. And we get the second one. I'm going to have to listen to this a couple more times. I have not quite managed to figure out what is being said, but there is definitely a whisper there. And if we walk over here, just a little farther, huh? Like I say, I'll have to go back over that, see if somebody else can figure it out. If you make out what's being said, let me know. But it's kind of hard to make out. Okay, now this last video clip was as I realized that Mike, David, and Chris were all buried just right there. I'd walked past them several times, and I was standing there by Mike Von Erich's headstone, and I said, this makes me feel stupid. I've walked past them, 2 or 3 times now, and it sounds like somebody saying, no, 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 no. Almost like they're trying to comfort me. I said, no, 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 you're not stupid. And so I don't know if this was Mike, if this was Mike Von Erich trying to calm me down or what. But so I almost talk over the top of it, but you should still be able to make it out. All right, I feel like a complete idiot now. Been walking all over this cemetery looking for them, and I walked right by them. They weren't just a few steps away from. I walked right. Okay, that's it as far as the newer stuff. Now the old laptop that I thought I had more on it, but there's still 3 of them on here. I'll go ahead and play this one first. I've actually got that on the SoundCloud. Some of you may have heard it on that. A very odd one. This was in the house I've talked about before. People still live there. But they're kind of private people. I don't give their names. I don't say where they live. But we picked up all kinds of stuff in their house. And you'll hear. We were kind of taking a break. We were just going to take a little break, just sitting in the living room chatting, and you'll hear a guy talking about a camera with LED lights. The thing that stands out is, I call it the call, call, call. Because it's either call, 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 or talk, 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 or cough, 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 or something. That's the main one, but there's all kinds of stuff going on here. There's like 2 or 3 different voices. It's about a 12-second clip. Tell you what, I'll play it twice. I won't do 3 times, but I'll play it twice back to back. Of course, if you want to listen to it again, I'm sure you know how to pause and back it up. But like I say, you get the call, call, call. There's 1 or 2 other voices that sound like a male voice. Never have been able to make out what they're saying. And then right at the end, it sounds like maybe more of a woman saying "mm-hmm." And that part, there was a woman there. At that part, I thought it was his wife, actually, the guy talking about the camera with the LED lights. I thought it was her saying "mm-hmm," but I didn't remember her saying that. And I asked her, and she said no, and she wouldn't have because she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to spend the money on a camera with LED lights. So yeah, other than the guy talking about the camera, all of this other stuff, and we didn't hear none of this at the time. Okay, this one here, same house. At one point, they actually moved for a while. Before they left, I finally talked them into, there's a group in Wichita Falls that was far more experienced than any of us. And I finally talked them into letting them come in right before they left. Just to see if we got anything else, see if they knew any tricks that we weren't doing, something. And we actually got several things. For whatever reason, this is the only thing I had on the laptop with this, but you'll hear, at the end, you'll hear a woman say, "Do you want me to sit on the floor and play with you?" But it's right before that is what picked up. It kind of just sounds like somebody saying, "Uh-huh." But of course we didn't hear it at the time. And this is a pretty short one. I'll go ahead and play it 3 times.
Do you want me to sit down on the floor and play with you? Do you want me to sit down on the floor and play with you? Do you want me to sit down on the floor and play with you?
Alright, this last one, a pretty neat one. A guy I used to work with, he has some property out in the country. And he always told me about the ghost car. This car would come out. He said that he used to live out there. He still owns the property, but he doesn't live on the property anymore. But he said when he lived out there, he would see this car. It was a 1930s, 1940s era vehicle. And you never heard anything, but you just saw the headlights. And he said it would come down the road, pass in front of the house, usually. It would come down the road, pass in front of the house, go up the hill, and you'd see the taillights disappear over the hill, and immediately the headlights would appear coming back over the hill. So there's no way, I mean, it took like a second. There's no way the car could have turned around and come back, and it would come back and drive back in front of the house and just keep on going down the road. Now, there were times that he said it would, I think he said it pulled down the driveway once, started toward the house. So when he got up to go look, he'd open the door and it was just gone. So there was another time it actually drove past the house. So a lot of weird stuff going on, and other people would see it. I think his son saw it, his granddaughter saw it. Well, a group of us went out there one time because I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it. Even if we didn't get anything on audio or video, I didn't care. I wanted to see it. And what I did was I set up a video camera and a voice recorder right there by the road. Now the video camera, oddly enough, or I guess if you do this long enough, you know it's not that odd. I turned it on, walked off. I mean, it was in seconds. It just shut off. When I went to check the video, there was about 10 seconds of video, and the camera had shut off. But the voice recorder, I did pick up this. It was, and there was nobody anywhere around there. This was across the road. We were probably at least 100 yards away. And we pick up this whisper. And this is one, as a matter of fact, this is another one that if anybody can pick up anything that it sounds like, if you can make it out, let me know. Again, it's a pretty short one, so I'll go ahead and play it 3 times. Okay, that was a pretty neat investigation because it was out in the country. We're getting hits on the K2. We didn't really get it on. I think we maybe got a little bit of audio up there where we were saying. We never did see the ghost car. I'm gonna have to get a hold of him again. I want to go back out because I want to see this. And like I said, there's too many people that back up his story, and of course I believe him anyway. He's a good friend of mine. I know he's not going to sit there and come up with these BS stories. So I want to go back out and see it. But that's it. That's all I've got at the moment. Like I say, this is something I'd like to do semi-regularly if I can come up with something to put in this spot. Like I say, I'm still going to go out and do the investigations with Amy and Laney, and I might do some little stuff just on my own. What I'd really like to do at the Von Erich gravesite, if I get another chance, I may. It'd be tough to do a full investigation there because you're not going to be able to get in there at night. They've got it closed off at night, and it's Grove Hill Memorial Park. They've got the I believe a funeral home or something just right there by the place, and it's a full-fledged investigation might be kind of tough to do, but I think if I just go back in there and just do an EVP session, maybe I can pick up a little something. So maybe next time I have to make a Dallas run, maybe I'll make my way back down there and I'll see if I can get something else on that. But yeah, I'm gonna try as often as I can, at least on Friday. I'm not going to be able to do it all the time. Fridays are kind of tough to say. I'll say Thursday or Friday. How about that? Some weekends I might have to do it on Thursday, but at least once a week anyway. I'm going to try and do this at least once a week. But I hope you enjoyed that one. Look for more stuff. Of course, I've got my Walking Dead thing on Friday or on Monday. And I realize I'm not good at it, but I just do it for me. If you want to come along for the ride, you're welcome. And of course, on Wednesday, I do whatever I can come up with. But I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for coming along for the ride. If you're new, please like and subscribe. Check out some of the other videos. Always appreciate any comments, any other feedback. Again, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you later.